All right, so let's dive right in.
That's good.
We got to talk about this whole thing with Biden sending those long-range missiles to Ukraine.
Yeah, the 8 ACMS, right?
Yeah, those 8 ACMS missiles capable of hitting targets inside Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you brought this to us for this deep dive, and it's clear why.
Oh, absolutely.
Huge deal. So we're looking at this article. Biden's move on missiles for Ukraine angers Trump allies. It really seems like a major turning point, potentially even globally.
No question.
So,
It's a big one.
okay, so let's break this down for our listeners. Why is this such a game changer?
Okay, so you have to understand, up until now, the U.S. has really walked this tightrope trying to support Ukraine without directly provoking Russia.
Right. Avoiding escalation, right?
Exactly. And, giving Ukraine weapons that could hit Russia, well, that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so can you explain, what's different about these ETCMS missiles? Why all the fuss about these specifically?
So basically, ATACMS are long-range surface-to-surface missiles. Before this, Ukraine could only hit targets within its own borders, or, right near the border.
So pretty limited.
Very limited. ATACMS, though, these give them the ability to strike much deeper into Russia. You're talking military bases, supply lines, maybe even infrastructure.
So suddenly the stakes are way higher.
Exactly. This is a major escalation in terms of capability. That's why everyone is so on edge.
And, of course, Russia isn't exactly thrilled about this.
Yeah.
What's been their response?
Well, as you might expect, the Kremlin's not happy. They're throwing around phrases like adding fuel to the fire and warning about retaliation.
Retaliation, that's a bit ominous, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is, they're being very vague about what that means. It's all very unsettling,
Yeah, I mean, all this uncertainty just adds to the tension, right?
Absolutely. And it probably serves their purposes, too. Well, it keeps everyone guessing. Keeps the U.S. and its allies off balance. Plus, remember, Russia has its own long-range missiles. They could hit targets across Europe if they wanted to. So the potential consequences here are enormous.
It's like a really high-stakes poker game.
Exactly. And just to add to the complexity, you've got Russia bringing in North Korean troops into Ukraine.
Yeah, we have to talk about that. What do you make of that development?
Well, it's certainly concerning. I mean, it shows that Russia is willing to pull in outside forces to boost their manpower, even if those forces are from a regime like North Korea.
Not exactly known for their stability.
Right. So now you've got this other unpredictable player in the mix. It just makes the whole situation even more volatile.
Okay, so let's talk about the reaction to all of this. Specifically, we're looking at how Trump and his allies are responding. Because, as this article points out, they're pretty fired up.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I mean, you've got Donald Trump Jr. saying that Biden's trying to ignite World War III.
It's strong language.
It is. And it's not just him. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is accusing Biden of trying to start WWIII as well.
Yeah, they're pulling no punches.
So what's behind this strong reaction?
Well, you have to consider the timing. This is all happening with Trump about to retake the White House. His allies are already setting the stage, framing this decision as reckless and dangerous. Part of a larger narrative that Biden is leading the world towards a wider conflict.
And it's not just those two either.
Nope. You've also got former Trump officials like Rick Grinnell using terms like escalation and whole new war.
So they're all pushing this idea that Biden's being irresponsible.
Exactly, painting him as the warmonger. But look, it's important to remember there are legitimate arguments on both sides here.
Okay, so let's hear those arguments. What are the reasons Biden might have made this decision?
Well, the main argument is that Ukraine needs these weapons to effectively defend itself. They're facing this Russian aggression, and they need to be able to deter further attacks. The idea is that a stronger Ukrainian military will ultimately force Russia to negotiate a better peace settlement.
So basically giving them the tools to fight back and hopefully end the conflict sooner.
Exactly. But of course, there's the other side of the coin.
Which is?
Well, critics worry that this could backfire, that giving Ukraine the ability to hit targets inside Russia will provoke Moscow to escalate things even further.
Like a tit-for-tat kind of situation.
Right. And that could easily spiral out of control, potentially even drawing the U.S. and NATO into direct conflict with Russia. And we can't forget Russia is a nuclear power.
So it's a gamble in a sense.
It is Biden's betting that a stronger Ukraine will make Russia back down. But there's always that risk that it could make things much worse.
Wow, this has been a really deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, the types of missiles involved, the potential consequences, the political fallout. It's a complex situation. So for our listeners out there, what should they be thinking about as this story continues to unfold?
Well, I think the key question is, what does this signal about the future of U.S. involvement in this conflict, especially with a new administration coming in? Is this a one-time thing, Or is this a sign of a fundamental shift in strategy? The answer to that question has huge implications, not just for Ukraine and Russia, but for the entire world.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. Well, thanks for breaking all this down for us. It's been really insightful.
My pleasure. Always happy to dive into these complex topics.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay tuned.
We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.